The federal government has clarified a public conversation on the number of delegates from Nigeria attending the ongoing climate summit in Dubai. After that discussion went viral online, the federal government is saying it only funded 422 persons to COP28 and not 1,411 as speculated. And these are the breakdown. National Council on Climate Change, 32 persons. Federal Ministry of Environment, 34. All ministries, 167. From the presidency, we have 67 persons. From the Office of the Vice President, we have 9. National Assembly has 40 persons. Federal parastatals agencies have 73. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, says the federal government's clarity is in line with a standing pledge to conduct itself with transparency and accessibility regarding public information. The government is of the view that COP28 presents an array of investment and partnership opportunities for the various sectors affected by climate change, and Nigeria is already benefiting from its ongoing participation. For joining us in the studio to further clarify issues is, drum rolls, Super Sam is back. Super Sam, Omatseye, it's good to have you on the show this morning.
It's my pleasure.
This issue has raised a lot of controversy before the minister came to clarify that it was just 422 persons that were part of the delegation that went to COP28. But do you think that the dust has settled, really, knowing who we are in this part of the world?
It depends on where you stand in the cloud of dust. There are some who are added to the dust, who want the dust to remain there, so that you can, even if you are driving through, you will see. You drive blind into the dust.
As ever.
Yes. You know, the issue is very interesting. When the story first came out, I was disappointed with some people in the media and so on for not first asking questions.
Right.
Because when there's a delegation of this nature, especially a fraught issue like the environment, you know that it is not a matter of government alone. It is perhaps the issue of the era, the environment. Remember we were on this show early this year and late last year, when we were lamenting the nature of the devastation.
Yes, of climate change.
Even a place like Lokoja became water.
Yes.
Bayelsa became water. Parts of the north, people were displaced. Millions of people were displaced. People lost their jobs, properties, and livelihoods. People died last year.
Yes.
And Nigeria was a cynosure of environmental disaster and emergency. So when a conference like this takes place, which is like the United Nations Conference, this is the environmental conference as an equivalent to the UN, that's UNGA. And even in UNGA, at the top of the agenda, often, is the environment.
Right. Yes.
So when COP takes place, COP is a place where heads of states go. Biden did not go, and Xi did not go, because both of them know that it is an issue where heads are likely to collide.
Yeah.
It is the issue of the moment. So when an issue like this comes, many people want to attend, especially areas where they have very serious environmental issues. Like Nigeria and so on. So I was disappointed with the media. I was also disappointed with government because of the tardiness with which they responded to the issue. They allowed the matter to go on. Many of them are even in Dubai, where the thing is taking place, where they should have even, probably called any of you guys and said, "Oh, I want to respond to this. This is government situation." Right from there, live. They should have done that. They didn't do that. There was a tardiness in response. Well, eventually the response came and said it's not 1,411. it is 422.
422.
And, you know, you can say the 422 is some kind of number that is still much, but 422 is not 1,411. And I must understand, too, that there were a lot of governors who went, a number of governors who went there.
Yes.
They went there with their delegation. There were ministries who have, and agencies who have stake in it. For instance, if the NNPC goes, people say, why should NNPC go? Why should NNPC be there? NNPC is oil.
Yeah.
And we have
matters of fossil fuel and all.
not only fossil fuel,
environmental
degradation.
Yeah.
The village in Delta State, where my father was born, it's now water. It's now water. You have to be on a hard land to point to the place where you were born, which was where there was a hut before, where goats and chickens were running around the place. It's only water and black water, for that matter, going on. So there are a lot of issues involved. The thing is that people are so angry and so quick to criticize. You must ask questions first. If you don't ask questions, you make yourself look foolish. Look at what Obi started banding numbers about China. China had great numbers there. China has environmental issues as well. But nobody, environmental issues with China has also to do with global warming. They have issues about industries and a lot of pollution of the air. Yes. So many times. They have had problems with pollution. Sometimes you walk through the streets of China, and it's foggy and everything. So they have that. They have it. We have it in Nigeria. Even during the campaign, there was an issue. When Asiwaju was using the metaphor of communion, church rat. And church rat. Is it not the time to deal with it? People should be.
But in terms of the implication, because I think it is instructive. The earlier point you made about government needing to respond on time to issues, so it doesn't expand or fester, and that's the word that I wanted to use. Speak to us from your experience of communication, the power of your words and the timing of your communication. Speak to us about the implications of this if it's not checked.
Because if you don't do it, you create a vacuum.
For people
when you create vacuum, people will respond. I don't think that they were under pressure to say, okay, we are going with we have 1,411 Nigerians going there. Therefore, we are under pressure to say, okay, this is the number of Nigerian delegations going. They may not. They don't have to do that. But when a group of people come and say, this is what happens, and that you are lying, you should get your facts ready in time. You don't wait it to fester for over 24 hours, where everybody, social media, everybody's like, oh, yeah, we know they're spending our money again. Yeah, and then they were saying that they would be without facts again, saying that they went there with their hangers on and with their friends and family. When you say things like that as a presidential candidate, you should come with facts. You come with facts. Or you look silly, you appear as though you are just tendentious, you just want to be contrarian. And that is not how to be presidential.
Right. Now, we have even started seeing some level of results coming out of that COP28. For instance, Betta Edu, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, says the UAE is ready to provide humanitarian response across Nigeria when we have some situation. And we also recall that the President signed the agreement with Siemens, at a side event at the COP28. But does this really go to show that we as a country are ready to tackle this matter head on because of what we have observed over the years? Let me say from 2012, we have seen the devastating effect of climate change in the country.
The issue of climate change is not something you can handle overnight, because it's also, to say that you can just handle it is it's presumptuous. It's as if to say you have the control over nature. Nature Joseph Conrad describes it as the unthinking might of nature. Nature does not think. It just does. It occupies space. It takes over your home. It takes over your ambition. It kills your loved ones. It does anything. It doesn't care. It has no mind. Its mind is mindless. That's what it is. So when nature operates, it's on its own logic. Our own is to make sure that we try as much as possible to anticipate and also control. Right. And that is a big task. But we have to try. Right. And that means we make sure that we plan our urban areas as we should. We make sure that the rural areas where we have vulnerabilities, like the coastal areas.
Like what we see Lagos State doing.
Like we see Lagos State doing. We discovered that Lagos State is the most fraught of all the cities in the country. But it was the most protected last year because it had anticipated. It costs a lot of money to do it. And it costs a lot. It takes a lot of thinking. It takes a lot of also technology to do it. It's very expensive. It's very convoluted to deal with. And environment affects every aspect of our life.
Absolutely.
Whether politics, whether food, whether education, healthcare, everything. It affects everything.
Some analysts have said it's a security issue.
It is a security issue.
Right.
So you discover that when you have a conference like COP28, you're actually discussing the survival of the civilization. That's what you are doing. So if you don't take COP28 seriously, you will fall built into the cup.
How very vintage. But what are your thoughts on the gains so far? You know, government sealing deals
with Siemens.
With Siemens, with the German Republic as it is, and of course the conference is not over. We're expected to see more. What are your thoughts on
It reminds me of hunger. You see, when the president went for hunger, there was this noise about how many people went, how much to be spent about it. Sometimes poverty mentality is a very serious thing in this country. You are spending how much? A few 100 million. And you are going to do deals that will be worth billions and billions of naira, or even if not dollars. And people are thinking about what you are putting inside rather than thinking of what you are going to gain out of it. So we should think positive, think great, think big for our country. So that was one of the problems. Siemens is not even a problem that it's not an issue that began with
the previous administration.
The previous administration. So sometimes when we try to bash Buhari, we should be also generous and understand that some things were set. And Rome was not built in a day. Some things take processes. And government is a continuum. Right. And government is a slog. It's something that goes on for. It's a battle. You have to drag it over periods of time for it to get fulfilled. So that is what is going on. The Siemens thing is a very good deal. It's something that will bring money into the system. I think that's what the president has been doing with his economic diplomacies all over the place, to India, to the Middle East, to the US, France, and things like that. I think it's trying to think about how to bring investors into the country, bring dollars, stabilize, improve the value of the naira, increase productivity, get jobs, and so on and so forth. It looks like that is what I'm seeing. That has not been very, very well articulated. Not well articulated, these directions of the government. So the Siemens deal is about power. It's about trying to make sure that we have power, because if we get our power problems solved, we have solved about half of Nigerian problems. Right. Because it will create a lot of jobs. It will improve productivity. It will improve health and environment, because standing it there is also an environmental issue, because power is an environmental issue.
Right.
So those are very significant. And better Edu getting Dubai, the UAE to come and help us is also productive. So people should, and then the symbolic launching of 100 buses, you know, people should start thinking about what is good in society, not always criticize. And when you criticize, make sure that you have your facts. Right. Because the idea that you say 1,411, oh, they have gone to spend our money again. These people, they've gone with their girlfriends and their lovers and their babies and their children, and everybody is now flying their first class on our money. Oh my God, look at me here. I can't even eat my piece.
And that brings me to the question, because I like the fact that you spoke about articulation of what government is doing.
Yes.
The matter of the hunger, the uproar and all that, I believe that if the government had properly articulated the essence for why they went for such meetings, we would not see...
Those were articulated. They articulated. They did not respond well. This you can only say so because they said they were going to... It was on paper that they were going to discuss with investors.
I believe that...
And they're not going to discuss with investors to go and take 2 penny to go and buy chin-chin on the road.
That's why Nigerians are reacting in this manner, because they do not really understand how this trickle down to them and how it benefits them.
I agree with you. Yes. I agree with you that when the uproar came, they ought to have broken all of this down. Like, we met with this company, we met with that company, we met with social company. We are making progress. It's one of these. I mean, they went to the Middle East the other time and talked to companies, and they all said they wanted to invest. We went to India. The India one was more transparent because the billionaires there mentioned the amount of money they wanted to invest in the country and so on. So you need this kind of things to be on the table, and you need clarity on these matters. So that at least those noisemakers will not stop making noise, but you put something in their mouth so that they can spit.
But of course, there are larger issues at the conference. The last COP, had some unresolved issues with the developed countries promising to, finance developing countries, and we didn't really see that through. And it's expected that this time around, perhaps there will be some more clarity. Developed countries who have, done...
the loss
and damages fund. I wonder what your thoughts are in this regard. President Tinubu, in his campaign days, spoke about... He gave a hint in that very famous example he used.
In the north. The church rat and
what are your thoughts really about the liability of developed countries in how climate change...
The liabilities are great and it's historical. Though they've destroyed the whole idea of industrial revolution. It was done in the West. They destroyed the environment in order to create their own prosperity. Now they are saying now that after destroying the environment, everybody should now stop. Don't do your coal. Don't manufacture. Don't spoil the environment and so on. You punched me black and blue. After punching me black and blue, you are saying that nobody should use a methylator anymore on the face. And so that you can look beautiful, and I'll be going like that, like whoever it is, walking on the streets. Everybody will be looking at me, and fly will be flying all over my head, and everybody will be singing. Fly will be singing, you will be singing too. Laughing at me. So what is it? What is it? So they are saying, no. There has to be historical justice. There has to be restorative justice. That is what they're asking for, that you have to pay for the damage you have done. It's just like what they did in slavery, slave trade. After you use all the slaves you developed, they said, no, we are not Christians. At first, you use Christianity to justify slavery. Then you use Christianity to say, no, slavery is evil. My professor in those days used to say that. He said the abolition of slave trade was an act of enlightened self-interest by the Europeans to give the Africans a new role in the international economic system. So the whole idea was not that they were only people. They became holy after they became good. They want us to be good and holy afterwards. So no, it doesn't work that way. So pay, but they are not paying enough. So the pressure, and that was one of the points that the president of Nigeria is trying to make, is that the West should pay and pay enough. If they don't pay enough, we will damage the environment. Everybody will suffer for it. You can't tell us to start doing well and so on. How many of them were in the conference? There are not many. Yeah. When they listed them, France, UK, US, they don't have many people there. And what would they do there? It's not priority. In fact, they're angry that this thing is going on because they are the best, they are the worst polluters. Yes. You know, in the world. Yes.
Yes, well, for the Nigerian government now, as we coast home, what should be the next move after this conference?
Well, we want to know what they came up with. Because when you go to conferences like this, there are so many sessions, there are so many ideas. They have to come back. It's not a matter of, I think this person said it was an Owambe. Atiku said it was an Owambe. Yes. Yeah, you have to prove that it's not an Owambe. Yeah. That it's not just going there to stay in a fanciful hotel and wear fanciful clothes and drink tea, and drink tea and take biscuits, right. Right. And then blow grammar in under AC. It's not
back home, and the problem remains.
Yes, the problem remains, and then next year we'll go again. And then you look at your estate, I look at your estate code and say, this is not bad. This will be different. This trip was not bad at all. So next year we'll go again. No, it's not about that. Right. You have to come out with a plan. Based on the ideas. And when you go to conferences like this, there are so many ideas.
Right. Unfortunately, we have to wrap up this conversation. Essayist Sam Omatseye, thank you once again for your presence in the studio.
We look forward to having
you again
soon.
Thank you.